Hi guys, welcome. In today's video I want to make something out of my fabric scraps that have been laying around in this box for a really long time. I think everyone has a box like this, and today I want to inspire you to make something out of it. I started by color coding and seeing which fabrics I liked together. I like to go this way when I'm reusing something, letting the fabric and the amount of fabric that I have left inspire me of what to make with it. I started with the red pink pile, and since I already had these pink squares cut out, I decided to go for patchwork, and I decided to make a pillow. So here I am just cutting out the squares and playing around a little bit in which order I wanted to have them. I went with a 50 by 50 centimeters measurement for the pillowcase, just so I can find some insides that will actually fit in it, and I put the ruler on the sides just to see how much more or less I was still lacking. And then I went just piece by piece, putting them together, always adding one, and this is a lot of work, so props to you if you're doing patchwork. I actually think that it would look a lot better if you would do a top stitch on top of every square that you put together. I did not end up doing this, but for the next time I will keep it in mind. Here's one pillow side done, and then I just went ahead and did the second side. For this side I went a lot more simple because now I knew how much work it is, so I did bigger squares. And then with this red velvet fabric, I went ahead and created a kind of envelope shape for the pillow. So I just elongated the back side of the pillow with this fabric, and then later on I just folded over and sew it like this into the inside of the pillow, so that I don't need a zipper, but instead I can just cover the pillow inside with this envelope. Onto our next pile, we have this blue and green color combo, which I love, and I went for a fanny bag just because you can always use them or gift them to someone, and you don't need that much fabric for them. So I just started by tracing a fanny bag pattern that I already had from a fanny bag, and I was even able to use a piece of zipper that I had left. If you are just improvising, the best tip I can give you with bags like this is always start with the zipper. So start by putting the lining and the outside fabric to the zipper first, and then you can go ahead and close everything else. So this is what I did here as well. Since this was not the prettiest zipper, I decided to sew something to cover it up, and I used this green fabric strip that I still had left, and then also I still had this handle cord, or however you call it, and also these buckles that you can buy in a bag together, and then you just have to assemble it. After sewing the lining and the actual fabric to the zipper, I just had to close the outside and then also almost close the entire lining of the fanny bag, just leaving a little hole open to be able to flip the whole bag around. And then the only thing that is left to do is to close this little hole through which you flip the whole fanny bag. And then here's the result. I think for it being made out of scraps, it looks pretty cool. For the next item, I had a lot more fabric left over, so I decided to make an actual top for my mom out of it because I thought the pattern and everything would be fitting for her taste. And I just started by, of course, pressing the fabric since it had been in this basket for a really long time. And then I already had this very simple pattern for a top, and I used that as a reference, and let me tell you, it is so much easier to make something when you have an actual pattern, so this was so much more relaxing than the projects before. When you work with fabric scraps, there is a point where you have to make one pattern piece out of several pieces because you just don't have enough left. So this is what happened here. But this was something that was going to be on the inside of the top, so not visible anyway, so it didn't really matter that much. And then I just started sewing and pressing and sewing and pressing, and I finished it off with a top stitch, which just made everything look nicer. So here is the top. I'm still adding something to this, but by the way, this was the same fabric, so it was a fabric with 2 different patterns. And then I wanted to add this rusty red velvet in some way, because I know that my mom really likes this kind of fabric and also this warmer color palette. So I decided to make a little flare at the end of the top, and I know that my mom will really like this because she loves very playful design. I started out trying a method that works with thinner fabrics and bigger stitches in order to ruffle the fabric up. That didn't work with this fabric, so I just ended up pinning everything in place and then sewing the folds this way. So here's the finished top, and I think my mom will really like this. So apparently this whole project turned into a little gift making day, just because once I did the fanny bag and the pillowcase, I was like, okay, pillowcase is perfect for my little sister, the fanny bag is perfect for my other sister, this top is for my mom, so now I need to make something for my dad. And with these fabric scraps, I really didn't have any idea what to make of them in the beginning, because they're not the craziest or most special fabrics, but my dad really likes it colorful, and I thought of something that he could use in everyday life, so I came up with a pencil holder slash brush holder, scissors holder, whatever you want to put in it. And this is actually a very simple thing to make. So here is what we started out with, and here are the end results. I hope you enjoyed watching, and see you in the next one.